I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. This is my December game chat, and we are feeling festive around here. And my question for this month is, what are your go-to adult play date type games? Which I mean by that, if you think about kids, there's a whole genre of games that are playdate games, like Hungry Hippos. A modern example is Loopin' Chewy is fantastic, and it's the type of game where a friend comes over and there's basically little to no rules to figure out, and it's just fun to play together for a playdate. So that doesn't necessarily change when you become an adult. The games just become like cornhole or ladder ball, and those are staples at summer gatherings if you're an adult. But it's winter now, and it's harder to play cornhole and things like that. But for me in particular, it really helps with an adult gathering if there is some sort of activity to do while you chat. And I'm bringing this up because Triazon partnered with Hasbro, and they sent out some copies, advanced copies of Monopoly Knockout, which is essentially shuffleboard meets Monopoly, and it is a blast. It is both a kid playdate type game, but it also works for adults too. It doesn't seem particularly kid-like. So I'm really happy about this one. I think there's a tendency among the board game community to kind of point up your nose at Monopoly type games in particular, and just like cutesy family games, but they serve a real purpose, especially ones like this. I love shuffleboard, and the way that they have it set up is you all have the same pieces, which is genius, because already playing this with my children, there were no fights. You just picked the color that you liked and all the pieces. Nobody had to fight over the dog piece because everybody had a dog in their set. And just the gameplay, you just slide it along, and there's still a bonus for collecting Monopolies, and you can go to jail, and Chance still does something, so it just works all of the different familiar elements of Monopoly into it, but in a really cute way. It's supposed to come out in January, but I think it might be available in some big box stores already. So anyway, I'm really happy about this one, and if you know of other games along these lines that work for adult events, let me know, because that can be a really tricky niche to find. And I really need it in the winter because it helps me hang out and be happy for longer at adult events. Some other games that were sent my way that I've been getting to try out are, I have a new Bite and Shy game that I got to play. Super Slopes is 1 to 3 players, and you're trying to make your best ski slope down a mountain. And I've been playing it, I've played it single player and I played it 2 player, and it works well both ways. And it's the right amount of it's so easy to pick up the basics of what the rules are, but then it's really tricky how you place your cards. You place down 5 cards in a row, and that's where you're drafting, or you're picking a card from, and then you place it on your own personal ski slope, and you pick, there's like 1 of 3 cards you can pick of the 5, and then you just pick it wherever in this tableau, and there are different scoring elements, but it's all really clear. So that part's easy. The rules are easy, but what you do with it is really interesting and fun. So and it's a winter themed game that is not holiday focused. So there's a very underserved niche of games for this, where it gets to January and you're like, oh, I've just been playing all these Christmas games, so it feels weird to play them now. This is a nice winter one that you can play. It's not holiday themed, and I love it. Other games that we've gotten to play, the Melon Rind sent me a few educational games, and if it's specifically an educational game, I think when you're looking at it, the gameplay isn't necessarily as important as the educational aspect to the game, because this JumpFive is helping kids learn to count by 5s, and the gameplay on the basic level is not that exciting. But then they have 2 other modes of play, and they have a speed option and a non-speed option, because depending on, some kids just really hate speed games. So this works well for teaching your kid to count by fives. My 8-year-old's very good at math, and this was pretty easy for him. So I don't know that he would want to play it now that he already knows how to count by fives. But the 4-year-old got in on it and was happy about it. Card quality, it wasn't really easy to shuffle, and that matters for games like this. So I wish it was a little bit nicer, but if you are looking for educational games, this works well. They sent me another couple that I'm going to try. So nice to have games. All games are educational, but some games are more educational than others, and this falls into that category. I also got Gator Grab Sports, which is a cute, like, spoons type game that's very sports themed. And I don't know that it was a fit in my household. We played it. It was okay. But I grew up on spoons, and how are you gonna, be better than the classic? There's nothing better than you have that set of 4 and you're trying to sneaky grab a spoon out of the middle of the table and see if anybody else notices. And then there's a mad grab, like, oh man, adrenaline rush. I can still feel it. Now. So the gameplay is a little bit different. They also have where you can play it as a memory game, so that's an option. So it's fine. I just don't feel like it does anything that new or special, but if you have a kid that really, really loves sports, maybe it would be a better fit for them, although we played it with my kid who plays a ton of sports, and he thought it was just okay. And then the other game that we played a little bit before, but Haba sent this to me ages ago, and we finally got it out and played it again, and we loved Moonlight Castle. It's big. Haba does just these big, beautiful games with really amazing components. And the one thing about this is sometimes there's building elements in Haba. And this has a big old castle you have to build. And it's really neat because these pieces go through and you're trying to collect the most gems. And there's a way in which you collect cards, and then you're able to purchase the gem tokens that slide through the castle, which is all really neat. And it's the right level of strategy where my 4-year-old was able to hang in there, but the 11-year-old who was playing with us wasn't bored. So amazing. However, that said, the castle is a little bit fiddly sometimes, and the tiles don't slide through just right. So there kind of has to be an adult there to help slide things through and make sure everything works properly. And if I gave this as a gift to somebody who didn't play a lot of games, it would be overwhelming. So this is it's great if you have a fair number of board games for your kid and are looking for fun, interesting, different ones. This wouldn't phase you a bit. My 4-year-old daughter will just grab a stack of games and want to go through them. So it's nice for us to have a variety. So this is really fun and works well for that. There are just some fiddly elements, so be aware. And then these I've talked about, but I'm talking about them again because I think it says a lot when it's a game that just keeps on getting played. And Holly Jolly and Timeline Twist were like our Thanksgiving games that we played with my folks. And fantastic family time, fantastic family memories. Everything was fun and nice. Timeline Twist is like, if you've played actual Timeline, I think it makes you less likely to play this because you think you know what Timeline is, where you just are trying to play out cards in sequence in a row. And this is so much more than that. They actually made it into a strategy game, and it's better as you know more of the dates. You can still play it when you're kind of learning when did they invent, when did the Titanic sink and stuff like that? When did they first land on the moon? But then it goes way back, like when was paper invented, or this is my favorite, when were the first cities or when were the first villages established? And then there's another card and it was like, when were cats domesticated? And it was the same year because cats domesticated themselves when they wanted comfort, which is why I love them. So there's a bit of strategy to playing things out in the row, and it's cooperative. So it's really challenging and interesting and fun. So this has been great to play with kids, with grandparents, just with my spouse. Um, it's educational, but in a really fun, nice way, which is amazing. And then Holly Jolly is where you have like a Christmas tree and you're just placing out. Oh, it's my perfect thing where you just there's some really simple rules, but then you get to do a bit with them, and you're just putting out uh, the Christmas lights or garland on the tree, and or tinsel. And then, depending on what the number is, that allows you to grab an ornament or an item under the tree. There is coal under the tree if you're really unlucky and get one of the stockings that has coal in it. There's two. Um, so it's one that it's such a nice niche because it's got enough going on that people who play a fair amount of board games can do well at it. But people who don't play a lot of games can be successful because the basics are pretty easy. It's like Sushi Go, but Christmas tree, and better. So I really like this one. Oh, and on that note, thank you to the friend who let me know that my video about Holly Jolly was Board Game Geek's video of the week in their email they sent out. And thank you for telling me because I wouldn't have known otherwise. Sometimes things will pop up in various places, and I'm subscribed to some different email lists and I follow different sites, but I don't catch all of it, and they don't necessarily notify you if these things happen. So it's really nice and exciting to hear when it's something like that. So please tell me. That was really nice, and I was excited about it. And yeah, I guess it's like the hot game right now, and we are fully on board. So you should check it out. The other couple of games that we've been playing are as far away from like Playdate type games as we get, because these are the battle games. We got to play some Dice Throne and Tales to Amaze this month. Mostly it was with my oldest son. We played these games. I'm gonna hold up Dice Throne first. Tales to Amaze is heavy. So they're both battle games, and this one is Santa versus Krampus. And it's like battle Yahtzee, but you have some special abilities depending on your character. And I thought I was going to get him as Krampus, but he reigned triumphant with Santa's special abilities. And I was really grateful that he won because it makes it more likely that he'll play with me again. There's a co-op version of Dice Throne you can get where you're battling bosses together, and I really need to seek that out for my family because it's still the same thrill of the game, but especially with a lot of kids, they don't like the feeling of being attacked, which is exactly what you're doing in Dice Throne. You're attacking each other. And it's just so much easier if there's some, boss guy out there attacking both of you and you're working as a team to defeat. It feels happier. And so you still get the same. So then I'll actually get to play these more because I'm obsessed. And I know that it'll work because we've been playing Unmatched Tales to Amaze. And so this is the co-op version of Unmatched, another battle game that I'm obsessed with. But my main critique of Unmatched, as we keep on accumulating more and more sets, we have like a lot of the sets. I finally didn't get the last 2 or 3, but we have like 11 or 12, including some of the really hard to get ones because we got on at the beginning. So we're kind of a big deal. We have Bruce Lee. Nobody can get Bruce Lee anymore. We have Deadpool. So we're fancy. But the problem with Unmatched is the name. It is Unmatched, and sometimes it's kind of like having a lightweight prize fighter take on a heavyweight where, yeah, there's a chance that Alice from Alice in Wonderland could win against Sherlock Holmes. But Sherlock Holmes has a lot of really powerful cards and the odds are pretty low. So it's not as fun to go in when you're like, okay, it's like 20% chance maybe that I'm going to be able to win if I'm this character against this. And then if you play the co-op, you are freed up to play whatever character you want because you're teaming up against the boss. And so it takes away that element, which is my main, like the main issue, because I love the game. When you have a good matchup and it gets down to the last few cards where you're trying to just eliminate your opponent, and it could be either one. It is amazing, but that doesn't happen necessarily every time. And I don't have a lot of time to play games, so if I've spent an hour, we've played 2 or 3 rounds of Unmatched, and they've just kind of been, oh, that one didn't pan out, oh, that one didn't pan out, then I've wasted an hour playing not really satisfying games, and I really want some good bang for my buck. But anyway, that's it for us for this month. We've been having lots of fun holiday parties and just time in front of the fire with my kids playing games, which is just my absolute favorite. And so I'm all for just the quality time that games give to you. And I like playing some of the big strategic ones, but I'm also just so happy to play. My kids wanted to play Crazy Eights the other night with me, and the 8-year-old and the 4-year-old fully hang, and they just had a blast. It was cute and nice. We were sitting in front of the fire, laughing and playing this game together, and that's what I really care about. So I wish you much wonderful family time and happy memories playing games, and I'll see you next time from Game Like a Mother.